Okay, good evening. Welcome to the August 20th Falmouth Zoning Board of Appeals hearing. We had open meeting at 5:30, so now we're starting our public hearing portion of the night. We have 4 applications tonight, new hearings tonight. I'll ask the public to silence their cell phones. There's many people here. And I'll introduce the board. All the way furthest to the right is John Sutherland. He is an associate member of the board. To my immediate right is Mark Kuhl. He's an associate member of the board. To my left is TJ Hurry. He is the clerk of the board. To TJ's left is Ed Van Kuren. He is a voting member of the board. And to Ed's left is Paul Murphy, who is also a voting member. Sari Budrow is here. She's the zoning administrator, and Andrade Guy-Shecker is the recording secretary. And I'm Kimberly Beelan. I'm the chair of the board. The Zoning Board of Appeals is charged with applying the zoning bylaws for the town and considering requests for special permits, variances, and appeals as provided for in the town's zoning bylaws. Decisions are made through the public hearing process. So our goal is to hear testimony from the applicants and the public and allow a full and fair discussion of the project prior to rendering a decision. So to begin each hearing, I'll have the clerk read the public announcement of the hearing and present any pertinent information from the file. That's usually referrals from other town departments. And he'll summarize some of the correspondence as well. The applicant or the applicant's representative is then given 15 minutes to make a presentation, and the board will then ask questions of him or her. The public will then be invited to comment. Public comment should be directed only at the project, so there should be no personal or derogatory statements, and you can include an opinion in favor, an opposition, or a question, and we'll try to get the question answered for you. All public wishing to speak should wait to be recognized and then come to the podium and state your name for the record. After that, the board can choose to close the public hearing or can continue the hearing if we feel that we need more information. And if the public hearing is closed, then we'll have discussion and we might make a decision tonight. We might continue that still. So tonight, like I said, we have 4 hearings on. And the first is 34 Ambets Ave. If TJ would like to read that into the record.
Sure. Being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Karen A. Roberts and Janet L. Walsh of Falmouth, Mass. applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals pursuant to Section 240-3 of the Code of Falmouth to convert the dormer, create living space on the second floor to the pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling on subject property known as 34 Ambets Ave in Falmouth, Mass. For referrals, there's no comment from planning. From the building department, no comment. From health, the proposed alterations to the dwelling do not appear to increase the total number of bedrooms above the 3 that exist now. The septic system depicted on the site plan is adequate for 3 bedrooms. See attached decision of the Board of Health, and attached is a variance from 2014. And there's also 7 letters in support of the project.
Okay, and the voting members on this will be the usual 4 voting members that are present and John Sutherland.
Good evening. How are you? My name is Jean Bowden, and I work with Capizzi Home Improvement, and I'm here to represent Janet Walsh and Karen Roberts on their project. The house at 34 Ambets Avenue is a 1.5-story cape. The first floor has 920 square feet of finished space. This is the existing, which includes 3 bedrooms and 1 bath. The second floor presently is a shed dormer with unfinished attic space, and it's only accessible from the first floor using a ladder and one of those scuttles up through a hole in the wall, up through a hallway ceiling. The house is non-conforming due to only one area being the front setback, which is supposed to be 25 feet, and we're at 23.5. So we're here to ask for a special permit to increase the living space and have, at the same time, not increasing any of the footprint, and the dwelling will remain at 3 bedrooms. So we are redoing the floor plan. The plan we've submitted to the town is to expand the second floor and convert it to the finished habitable space. And this will be 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom. And on the first floor, we are eliminating a bedroom in order to construct the stairway between the 2 floors. We are raising the roof line. It's approximately about 4 feet using a 12-12 pitch. And the maximum height of the house is approximately, will be 22, but no more than 24 feet. We're pretty sure it's the 22, but we are within the zoning there. And when completed, the number of bedrooms will remain unchanged at 3 bedrooms. The lot coverage will also remain unchanged at 12% by structures and 18% by structures, including any paving that's there. The existing nonconformities will not be increased, and no new nonconformities will be created. The existing septic system, as you can see, is only about a year old and is approved for the 3 bedrooms. Of the 48 houses on AMVETS, there are 29 today that remain with the original square footage, and 19 of these have been expanded to have between 1,052 and 1,638 square feet. 7 of these have been expanded using the same second-story design and roof line as our plan. So we're other people have done the same thing that we are proposing. And it's a lovely neighborhood. I've been there a few times now, so I really like it there. And I'm hoping you'll allow them to have the special permit.
Thank you. Let's see who has questions. Paul, do you have any questions?
No questions at all.
Ed?
Yeah, it's just an academic question. What is the heat in that place? I noticed the chimney's been removed.
No, we're not removing it. We are removing it.
Yeah, the chimney's going away, according to the drawings.
Okay, this is...
I'm Janet Walsh, one of the owners. We are, is currently oil heat. We are also converting to gas heat as part of the plan.
Okay.
There's existing gas service to the house, so the chimney will be eliminated.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay. TJ?
Did you mention the proposed square footage?
The proposed square footage is, I have it here. The existing is 920, and the proposed is going to be about 600 upstairs, so the total would be about 1,343. 1,500, less than.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Mark?
No questions.
John?
No, I think the question that I had has already been answered
Okay.
regarding the septic.
And just, I guess to confirm, based on the floor plans, you're opening up where that, I guess is designated as bedroom 3. So that whole area with the kitchen, the living, dining area will all be open now, so.
And it's
no
going,
less.
the stairway will go upstairs that way.
Right there.
Typical, pretty stairway, rather than a hole in the wall, no.
Okay. Sari, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay.
I've worked out everything. The Board of Health submitted the variance. It looks good.
Okay. Anybody have any public comment in favor and opposition? Okay. So let's see what the board wants to do. Motion?
You were so good at it last week.
Any motion?
Yeah, make a motion to approve it.
Okay. So that was Mr. Van Kuren.
To close?
A motion to close, excuse me.
Motion to close.
Is that motion to close then? Okay. So that was Mr. Van Kuren.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor to close?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then findings, and conditions. So, do they have any findings? Okay.
No new nonconformities created?
Right, and no increase to the existing nonconformity?
testimony says bedrooms will remain at 3. Testimony also included that it's keeping with the evolving neighborhood.
Right. 24216, and not increasing the overall height of the structure, the overall.
They are.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
No.
Anywhere from 2 to 4 feet.
Oh,
22 to
excuse me,
24.
sorry. Okay. Well, that's still
Still well below.
Well below, then we'll say that. My apologies,
Not increasing the lot coverage.
right?
I'll just put lot coverage is still in compliance with 24069.
Okay. Any conditions? It's per plans?
Yeah, build it by the drawings.
Per plans?
Per plan.
Yeah.
3 bedroom?
Yeah, 3 bedrooms. Any others? Good to go? Okay, so do we have a motion in favor?
Make a motion in favor.
Okay. And anyone else? Okay. So that was Mr. Van Kuren and Mr. Hurry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright. The next hearing is 64-15, Horn 4 Creighton Park, Falmouth.
Voting members?
Oh, excuse me, sorry, the voting members. We will do the regular voting members and Mr. Poole.
Thank you.
Horn.
Form.
There's a letter to withdraw.
No, but you still need to read it.
Still need to
out.
read it. Being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Jonathan A. and Sherry P. Horn of Wellesley, Mass. applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals pursuant to Section 240-3C of the Code of Falmouth to construct additions to the pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling and relocating a deck on subject property known as 4 Creighton Park, Falmouth, Mass.
And there was a letter.
We do have a
Okay.
letter to withdraw the application without prejudice.
Okay. Would anybody like to make a motion to that effect? Okay.
Motion.
So that was Mr. Van Kuren.
I'll second.
Okay, and Mr. Poole. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and that's unanimous. All right, the next item is number 6515, McDonald, 91 Priscilla Street, Falmouth, special permit to construct a dwelling on vacant lot. And the voting members on this will be the voting members and Mr. Poole.
Being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Paul J. and Carol A. McDonald, trustees of Falmouth, Mass., applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals pursuant to Section 240-66C3 and 240-66C4 of the Code of Falmouth to construct a single-family dwelling on vacant lot known as 91 Priscilla Street, T-Ticket, Mass. And for referrals, planning, no comment. Building department, no comment. Water department, no comment. Fire department, no comment. Health, this property is not now served by town sewer. The health department will only be able to sign off on a building permit for this property if a suitable site and septic plan is submitted with the building permit application. unless the building permit application is submitted after the town sewer becomes available to the lot. That's it for that. Okay.
Okay. Mr. Emmett?
Good evening, members of the board. I'm Bob Comment. I'm a Falmouth attorney. I represent the applicant. The applicants are Paul and Carol McDonald in their capacity as trustees of a estate planning trust. Paul McDonald is over there. Next to him is his son, and next is his grandson. 3 generations here. Paul and Carol McDonald acquired the property in question, both a house which is on Oak Street, over here, and a vacant lot on Priscilla Street in 1977. They acquired the properties by separate deeds, separate certificates of title have issued. The properties have always been kept in separate ownership at the Register of Deeds, and that is different certificates of title, but the ownership has been common, first in the names, they're named individually, and later in the trust. There, as I said, was a house on Oak Street when they bought the property. That house had been built about 1930, according to the assessor's records. The lots themselves, consisting of 3 lots over here and 3.5 lots over here, were actually laid out in 1913 by a land court plan, which I can give you a copy of. The town and the McDonalds have always treated the Priscilla Street property as a buildable lot and separate from the Oak Street property. In 1968, the Board of Appeals granted a special permit allowing a house to be built on Priscilla Street. In 1980, that was before the McDonald's even owned the property. In 1980, in Special Permit 3880, a special permit was again issued to allow a house to be built on the vacant lot. It included some conditions, namely that the septic system, which then served the house lot and which was on the vacant lot, be relocated, so a new septic system was installed on the Oak Street lot. Also, there's a garage on the Oak Street property. It had a shed that extended across the line. A condition of the Board of Appeals was that that be removed, and that was done. Also, in compliance with that Board of Appeals decision, a separate septic system was designed for the vacant lot. The special permit, however, was not recorded within 2 years, as was the town's requirement, effective as of 1979. The special permit wasn't recorded, and until 1997, some years later, and the building commissioner felt that the failure to record the special permit within 2 years, despite the compliance with the conditions of the special permit, suggested that we should get a new special permit if we wanted to be sure that the lot is buildable. Now, the McDonald's actually do not have present plans to build a house, which is why we didn't submit house plans to you. But the town has now put on record at the Registry of Deeds a lien for the sewer betterment of in excess of $16,000, which this property will be subject to if it's buildable, which is what the McDonald's would like to just preserve this as a buildable lot. And they would then pay that betterment, and someday perhaps their grandson or their son would be able to build on the lot. They obviously don't want to pay the betterment if the Board of Appeals were to fail to grant a special permit that would remain in effect. The property has been assessed separately and assessed as a buildable lot during the entire period of ownership. So they've been paying taxes on a buildable lot since 1977 and been relying on the special permit that was granted in 1980. In 2000, they applied to the Board of Appeals for a special permit that only affected this lot, to take the house down here and build a new house. That special permit application, special permit itself only describe this lot, and I point that out because all the evidence is that they've always treated these properties separately, they've never treated them as being merged. There have been mortgages put on this property, that is the Oak Street property that has a house on it. There's never been a mortgage put on this. There's never been a blanket mortgage on these properties. Again, properties have always had separate certificates of title, never conveyed together. There is no plan that shows them merged. Now, bylaw section 24066C2D says that separately owned lots, as of 1981, are buildable by right in the residential C zoning district if they have 7,500 square feet. Section 24066C4 says that a lot that is separately owned from all of the lots except for lots in common ownership that had a house on it as of 1981 will be treated as if they were separately owned. So if we had a 7,500 square foot lot here, since there was a house on the only commonly owned property as of 1/1/81, this lot would be buildable by right. But it is not 7,500 square feet, it's only 7,200 square feet. Well, when town meeting and the planning board sponsored various grandfathering provisions in 1979 to go before town meeting, they knew that. They knew that there were many lots in town, particularly in the Mara Vista, that consisted of 3 old lots, 2,400 square feet each, 7,200 square feet in total. That's what we have here. And so the zoning bylaw includes a special provision for lots such as this. Section 24066C3 allows the Board of Appeals to issue a special permit to build on a lot of only 7,200 square feet under certain conditions. One of those conditions is that there be an analysis of any nitrogen impacts on a coastal embayment if the property is within 300 feet of a coastal embayment, and I think this might be within 300 feet of, is it Little Pond? Yeah. However, the sewer's going in, so there won't be any impact on the embayment if this property is not built upon until the sewer is installed, and that would be fine to have as a condition of a special permit grant. And the other condition to be considered, other than your standard conditions under 240-216, is that the majority of the lots in the neighborhood have been developed. And of course, almost all the lots in this area have been developed. I have a copy of the assessor's map to give you that shows all the houses on them. There are just a few vacant lots in the space of 4 streets, which are shown on that plan. Now, you still need to consider section 240-216, the standard special permit criteria, and determine that the project, if built, will not have adverse effects which overbalance beneficial impacts on the neighborhood or the town, and that the granting of the special permit is in harmony with the purpose and intent of the bylaw. Now, in particular, you would consider the adequacy of the property in terms of size. So, I sketched and filed with the board a plan. It's not stamped because I did it, I'm not an engineer, but it shows the footprint that's available. It's a footprint that's 70 by 45, ample size for a house. And today I found a house online that you can buy the plans for. Just as an example, we don't have particular plans, we don't want to build a house anytime soon, but I do this because I want you to see that there's plenty of room to build an appropriate house. That's a 3-bedroom house that's shown as indicated on the drawing, which is perhaps not as closely to scale as a surveyor would do, but very close to scale. That the footprint of that house is 1,363 square feet. That would be 18.9% lot coverage allowable by right, less than 20%. And that's the entire house, even including the stoop in front. So the lot is suitable in terms of size, and of course we don't need to worry about locating a septic system on this property because it's going to be hooked up to the sewer. The property is suitable for the proposed use. It's on the sewer, it's on a quiet dead-end street, it's in the residential C zone, and our zoning bylaw says that, first of all, this is a residential zone, so it's appropriate for a residential house, and our zoning bylaw specifically provides for protection of these 7,200 square foot lots if the criteria are met. This house won't create new traffic problems, it won't affect views and vistas or the neighborhood character. Sewage, of course, will be municipal. Town water is municipal. Priscilla Street is a town street. And of course, there are utilities there, a school within walking distance, and so on. So all of the criteria that you would consider for whether this property will have, if built upon, will have an adverse impact, I believe are satisfied. I think with the sewer in place, this becomes a very easy special permit for you to grant, with the following concerns that I want to address because I know you'll bring them up. As I said, we need to confirm the status of this lot we need to know whether to pay a $16,000 sewer betterment. So we would like a decision of the board that provides that the payment of that betterment will be deemed to be a substantial use of it. We will then be, in a sense, starting construction on the project because we'll be paying for the sewer. But the sewer isn't going to be available to this property, I don't believe, in 2 years, although probably shortly thereafter. But we don't want to be in a position where we have to build on this lot. What we need to know is that we can build on this lot even years in the future, if we rely on the special permit by paying the sewer betterment. I want to address the question of merger, because when we have two lots together, if you have a house on one lot and a vacant lot adjacent to it, if it's not totally vacant, I think you have to at least discuss the issue and the possibility of merger, and you would raise that, and I want to discuss it so that you can determine that the lots have not merged. I gave you all the reasons already about lots being in separate certificates of title, never treated on the records at the Registry of Deeds as together, separate special permits, compliance with those terms, and so on. But the lot isn't an entirely treed lot that isn't used by the McDonalds, particularly by Mr. McDonald. He has on the lot, and if you've been out there, you've seen it, a substantial, about 800 square foot raised garden that's looking awfully productive with vegetables. And he has flower gardens. And he also has a small gazebo. The gazebo is 120 square feet in size. It sits on some concrete blocks. It did not require a building permit. Mr. McDonald went to the town to see if he needed a building permit, and they said no. Sheds or other structures less than 200 square feet do not require a building permit, and that's in the shed policy that's online. I'll give you a copy of that. The gazebo is used for the gardening. That is, that's no shed. That's where Mr. McDonald keeps his tools and his supplies. He has a chair in there. He's 80 years old, and when he gardens and he needs a rest, he may sit in there. But it doesn't serve any other purpose. Agriculture, which includes, by definition, horticulture and floriculture, gardening, is an allowed principal use of property. And in an accessory building to a permitted use on lot is what we have here. We have a shed that can be restricted only for use for agriculture. I don't think that maintaining a garden on an adjacent lot constitutes merger. And I don't think maintaining a mere shed that does not require a special permit, that doesn't have a foundation, that's used to support and only to support that allowed use, that any of that rises to the level of showing an intent to merge the lots. Rather, the intent has always been to preserve the buildability of this lot pursuant to the special permits that have been issued in which the McDonald's thought were still in effect. I considered the fact that the Board of Appeals has recently received a land court ruling in the Gallagher case that concerned merger, and I just wanted to briefly distinguish that case. That case involved a carport on the lot next to a lot that had a house in common ownership eventually. It was a carport that was used in a painting business. It was large enough to require a building permit, which they didn't get. It had electricity to it. A plan was filed with the board that combined the two lots at one point. This gazebo is only 120 square feet. It's set on blocks too small to require a building permit, no electricity, used for gardening, and allowed principal use. The Gallagher lots were created in 1986, after 1981, which is a critical date for our grandfathering provisions in our zoning bylaw. These lots were created in 1913, and the land court held, and the rationale for its holding in the case, upholding the Board of Appeals decision that the lots had been merged, was based on the fact that the court found that section 240-67 of our zoning bylaw and the footnote 7 in that is what the court called not an indulgent bylaw. That is, it said that that bylaw did not deal with commonly held lots, and that protection would only apply if the lot was in separate ownership. And therefore, the judge never reached a decision of whether there was merger for other reasons. The McDonald lots are very different, and the protection is based on 240 section 66, not 67. And clearly, 66 is an indulgent bylaw, which expressly refers to lots that are in common ownership and expressly says that a lot such as this situation will be deemed to be in separate ownership and treated as such and entitled to be built upon if it has the 7,500 square feet. So whereas Gallagher was decided based on a legal issue in merger, when those lots were eventually merged in 2000, I think it was in 2000, these lots could be deemed merged if somebody treated them as one and if the situation were different from here. So I think it's very important. I would think that that issue would be on your mind, and I think that merely using an adjacent parcel of property for gardening, even if you have a shed on it, doesn't mean you've merged those lots because gardening is an allowed use, and that level of activity on it has to be allowed. I think I've given you a lot to think about. You probably have some questions. Would point out that if this lot is not buildable and an abatement would then be granted from the assessment of the betterment for the sewer, that essentially that will cost the town $16,000, which either is absorbed by the town or I don't know if it's possible to spread it among the other people subject to the lien at this point. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to just assemble copies of the things I've referred to, and I'll give you a copy of them.
All right, let's see if anybody has questions. Mr. Poole.
Actually, I think Bob did a fine job. I have no questions.
Okay. Mr. Sutherland?
No, I don't.
Okay. TJ?
You addressed my concerns?
No, nothing.
Not really, it's interesting.
Okay. Thank you. All right. I'll ask you some questions. Can you walk me through how it satisfies either the 240-66 or C4 or 240-66 C3? I guess, or both, or what you're relying on to get the special permit, I guess.
Sure.
Thank you.
I think we have to start off with 240-66C4. It says that any lot held in common ownership, so it doesn't have to be separately owned, with adjoining lots that are, that if such a lot in common ownership is vacant as of 1 January 1981, that it will be treated as not held in common ownership. It will be treated as a separate lot. If there was a dwelling in existence on any other commonly owned contiguous lot. So the only contiguous lot in common ownership since 1977 for the McDonald's, and actually I believe that the predecessors acquired the property in 1954, the only commonly assessed property had a house on it. So it meets that, that standard. It's deemed to be in separate ownership. That's important because if there were two vacant lots that were undersized, generally speaking, the owner would have to combine them. And you couldn't use both such lots, which isn't the case here. Why did the town include that provision? Because many people, like Mr. McDonald and his wife, couldn't, I don't know if it was their life savings, but they bought a separate lot next to the house that they had, with the idea that someday, particularly given the community we live in, a resort community, they might be able to have another house for family. When town meeting revamped all the grandfathering clauses back in 1979, they put this in knowing that there were many people in this situation. The state law would require that even if there was a house on the adjacent lot, if there are two lots in common ownership, they would have to be treated as one once one became undersized. The Gallagher case actually discusses that and discusses the fact that Falmouth has other provisions and that a town can have such provisions. So that's what the town did. We meet the requirement of that. So now we have a separate lot. And if it had 7,500 square feet, as I said, you would just look at 240-66C2. You'd see it at 7,500 square feet. You treat it as separately owned. You get a building permit. But we don't have that, so we have this provision that I said was specifically crafted to apply to the quite significant number of lots, which were 7,200 square feet in size, like this one. Before that, you could get a special permit even on smaller lots. And I've been doing this a while. I remember doing so on lots of 5,000 square feet. But they wanted to protect the environment, so there's quite a bit of provision in 240-66C3 about making sure that the density that could be created isn't going to have an adverse impact on the nearby water body. And that situation has certainly gone away. We could satisfy that requirement otherwise if we had to put in a septic system. You could put in a denitrified septic system and something like that to show that you weren't going to have an adverse impact. But that could be a condition. We're willing to have a condition that just says you can't build to the sewers there. And then the issue of they wanted to treat people fairly, but not be overly indulgent. So they said, you know, you have to show that a majority of the lots in the neighborhood have already been built upon, which of course is the case here. It was the case back in 1979 and 1981, the effective date. It's obviously the case now. Other than that, you just look to 240-216. So I think we meet it.
I think the problem that I'm having, or the question that I'm having is, I understand the 240-66 266C4, that if you had 7,500 square feet. I don't know if I'm understanding, or I can tell you I'm not understanding, the leap that 240-66C3, which provides that any lot not held in common ownership could be applicable.
Well, because by itself, 240-66C4 means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't say that that only applies to section C2. And look at the placement of that. It's not as part of 240C2. It's not after 240C2. It's after 240C3. It stands by itself, and there's nothing to suggest where it says any lot that it only applies to section C2 instead of to section 3. I think in terms of how one would read a statute, the fact that it is in no way specific to C2, that's correct. And I'll also tell you that that section, in my experience over many years, has always been applicable to sections besides just C2.
Okay, and I think I need to look at more. Sri, do you have any questions? No. Okay, so I think everybody is all set. Anybody else have any questions? Is there any public comment in favor? Opposed? Okay.
I do have one more question.
Okay.
Bob, could you enumerate again, if the board so wishes to grant this, the declaration that you want made as a finding?
Well, one, I think that the property will be connected to the sewer, and that could be a finding and a condition that
But I
the property
mean,
be separate.
you had mentioned something about the betterment acting
And that-
as a,
And that the recording of the special permit and the payment of the betterment would be deemed to be an exercise of rights under the special permit. And that really is such that construction is not required to begin within 2 years.
and so that, by virtue of that,
I think if the board has
Statement.
made that finding, or I don't know if it's a condition, but I think it can be a condition that the betterment be paid, of course, but we're obviously going to pay it. We're not going to appeal it, and we're not going to seek an abatement if it's a buildable lot. I'm not sure that the first bill will come out in 2 years, and I'd rather not have to come get an extension of the special permit, so I think language can be crafted that will be make this long-lasting. We have done that in the past. The special permits making lots buildable have in the past had similar language as they record the special permit and it will be deemed to improve the lot. It does, it obviously increases the value of the lot, and you rely on it maybe by certainly what's happened on this lot, we relied on the fact that this was to be separate. Hope that's helpful.
Mhm. That's all I have.
But I'm just a little bit worried, you know, the $16,000, that can be paid anytime. It can be paid, you know, now, prior to a special permit.
I don't know if it can be paid now
You can't?
because it hasn't been assessed.
Okay, right.
There's a lien for it, and of course it can. If I understand it correctly, it can be paid over 20 years and with a 0% interest. So it's obviously an advantage to paying it over that time. But the decision as to whether to seek an abatement, that will have to be made within 30 days of the when the first bill comes out.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't know how much to pay now, and there's no reason we should have to pay on any terms other than anybody else is paying.
Yeah, I'm just, generally though, you know, paying for utilities, bringing utilities to a lot usually doesn't exercise a grant of a special permit.
Well, as I said,
It's usually it's work, you know.
Yeah, recording the special permit in some previous cases has been deemed to be a sufficient exercise of rights. I see Sri Boudreau is agreeing with that, that's right. I think it's, you know, this is all about establishing the buildability of this lot for the long run, so that we're comfortable with the payment of the betterment. And I think we've shown that in terms of size of the lot, everything else, the criteria. If we wanted to build right away, we could. Now, it'd be silly to build right away, although some people might, and put in a septic system, because that's what you'd have to do today, as the health department referral has suggested, knowing that you're going to have to hook up to the sewer when it's available. I don't know if that's responsive to your concern. We're quite satisfied that if the board includes in its decision the determination that the recording of the special permit and the payment of the betterment will sort of lock that special permit in, that we'll be okay on that. We'll rely on that and pay the betterment, and when Paul McDonald's grandson wants to build, they'll be all set.
Any more questions, Paul?
I don't think so.
When was that gazebo constructed?
2010.
Just a few years ago.
Right. How long has, I guess, the gardening use been made of that other lot?
I suspect the garden's been there for decades.
Since I bought the property. There's also fruit trees on it.
If you're going to
I
testify, you have
apologize.
to get up. Sorry, to the podium. Sorry. Okay. Okay. All right. You guys want to have some board discussion, or anyone want to start?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious, does 3 and 4 require that the lot be truly vacant? I know you're arguing that it doesn't require, that the structure there doesn't require a building permit, but, you know, it's still a structure. Vacant
Well-
would mean void of structures, but I know it's not regulated by the building code. I'm just raising it, that's all. I'm not,
It's an issue.
yeah.
And the literal answer is that neither of those sections know in the bylaw when it talks about any lot, and it does say any lot. It doesn't say vacant. Now, I think it means vacant, certainly in the sense that it not be developed with buildings. It probably only applies to original construction. But I don't believe that a shed should be a criteria. A mere shed, and particularly a mere shed used for gardening, which is a permitted use, principal use. I think that would be a mistake. Falmouth does have a zoning bylaw which says you shouldn't have an accessory building without a principal use. It's significant. It says principal use, not principal structure. Gardening, agriculture is clearly a principal use under our bylaw. That's what this property is being used for. One could argue that this 120 square foot building structure is accessory to the principal use of gardening. I think sometimes a board needs to use its common sense and discretion in looking at a situation. Here we've had gardening going on this property for 50 years. We have a shed that supports the garden. We have a property owner who's gotten, well, predecessor got a special permit. He got a special permit for this lot. Always, the gardening was never a problem in the past, though the shed apparently is a new thing. I don't think town meeting meant to strip the rights associated with a lot like this from someone because they put a gardening shed on it. That's just plain wrong.
Yeah, I'm just raising it. I'm not objecting to it.
It's good to raise.
Yeah,
I think it's
yeah.
a valid issue, but it's the type of thing you have to say, we're going to grant a special permit. And if nobody appeals that special permit within the 20-day period, that special permit stands. If you do that, you'll have done the right thing. If somebody were upset about what's going on, they'd be here tonight, and they could appeal the decision if they felt that you were making the wrong decision. There may be another case where you might do something different, where there are other factors involved. But I think that for Mr. McDonald, you're simply doing the right thing if you follow the suggestions we have. Thanks.
Sari, you have a question?
Just for the board's information, we have had cases in the past where they've had a shed, which was used as an accessory use to a primary residence on the abutting lot. And there are case laws on this where people have gone in, removed them, it became a buildable lot. The only concern that the board's had in the past of things that we can't see is a septic, because the CMRs are very clear. Your septic system has to be on the lot that is used, that it's used for. In this case, it is. And the gazebo is not a shed. I agree with Mr. Ament on that case, and the gardening and horticulture is allowed by right, and the definition is permitted use. So just for information, what the board has done in the past, those are valid points.
So just for my clarification, can an accessory structure serve a principal use?
Well, the principal use on this vacant lot is
Right.
gardening, which is allowed by right.
Right.
If you have,
I mean,
if he had a garage on this property that they used in conjunction with a single-family dwelling on the abutting lot that they own, that's a different story.
Right, and that's what
something that the board would
you
have to
had
deal.
made mention to. It's a
Right. We've had a case
accessory
like that.
structure for a principal structure on another lot. That's-
Right.
So
For
it's
a-
kind of
a
apples and
principal use.
oranges
If we
in this
read the
case.
definition, if I could...
The
Sorry.
definition's very clear. It says accessory uses
Yep, I just wanted
for
to.
permitted use
make
on that
that-
lot, which agriculture, horticulture is allowed in this residential district as a permitted use by right.
Further discussion, I think this is pretty much cut and dried. I think it's two things. One, in terms of whether the separation exists, and then two, given the use of agriculture in the shed, serving that agricultural use.
Gazebo.
Gazebo. Merges the actual property. I think this distinction has been established, for me anyway. And I'm ready to move forward on this one.
Are we
John,
in
do you have
board
any
discussion?
thoughts?
No, I would make a motion to close.
Second?
No,
No.
I'm sorry, I want to have some more.
Oh,
discussion.
And Mark
sorry.
Pool's the voting member on this, right?
Right,
So,
right. And
John,
I
you can't
I
close.
think I know everybody else seems to be leaning in my favor of it. Not that I'm leaning against it, I just would like some more time to kind of get comfortable with the language. I guess I have some trouble saying, I understand that they're using that as a principal use of that property, the agriculture, but it's still accessory too. They wouldn't be making the use of that property, but for,
There's case law. If you'd
Right.
like to continue this
Right.
hearing, I can get you some case law that this board has had to deal with, and things that have been appealed, and they've overturned this board's determination on a couple of them, where the board voted, all right, this is an accessory use, it's accessory to this primary use over here, and the court overturned this board's decision. So there is case law on issues like this, and those were very distinct accessory uses to the primary use on a budding lot.
right.
We've never had one where the permitted use is agriculture, horticulture, and it's been on this property. The gazebo, it's not a shed. You know,
Well, it doesn't
so
look like your typical
if you'd like
shed.
to sorry, Bob, if you'd like to possibly either close and take under advisory so you can look at the case law, or continue this, I can get that case law for you and send it to all the board members.
Well, I guess this is what I'm thinking, and I'm not suggesting by any means that the delay is because I'm not going to approve it or I'm not going to be in favor, but I just want to be more comfortable saying this case law is out there. Now we know some of the additional facts, so I would just like to be comfortable with what I'm voting on. And for me, I would just need to I want to sit with this language a little bit more in light of the facts, and I want to.
I must say those cases
some
don't
cases.
involve turning to 24066C3
Right.
or C4, reverting back to C3. So you might
Right.
want to ask Bob to submit more clarification for you on those as well.
I think that would be
If we're going
helpful.
to, only if the board's going to continue, and it's up to the board, I'm just suggesting.
That would be my preference, but that's but one person.
Yeah, and I just want to revisit the 2-year issue and the expiration of a special permit. So you specifically obviously want the board to incorporate language into the special permit that permits this to be buildable in perpetuity regardless of the 2-year expiration? And you think that that protects, just that language will protect, I'm just asking, you feel as though language in the special permit is sufficient to protect this lot in perpetuity and not start construction?
Yes, particularly if the board specifies that the payment of the betterment, and I don't mean in full, but the satisfaction of the town requirements with respect to the betterment will be deemed to be an exercise of rights. And by doing so, it's, I think, the equivalent of installing the septic system on the lot before building the house. There's no question that if you did that, you would have exercised rights under the special permit. And I think it's the same thing, but the key on this, as in other things, it's what the zoning board decides, what you put into your decision. And if it isn't appealed, I think we'll feel comfortable with what we have. Our hope, of course, just in terms of efficiency and cost to the McDonald's, is if the board is able to, that you would vote the approval tonight if we feel that way.
So what was absent in the prior decisions that you felt, obviously the building commissioner didn't feel comfortable issuing a building permit? You said, if you really want to make this thing buildable, you ought to go get a special permit.
It wasn't filed with the Registry of Deeds.
It simply wasn't recorded.
Yeah, it was his concern. Yeah. And of course, we have the ability to obtain a new special permit. And I think we pretty readily meet the requirements, so we figured that was a good enough fix for us.
Sorry.
If you have any special permits where the board went outside of the 2-year range, because of all my 13 years of doing this, I've never
Yeah, it might be
drafted a
hard for me
decision
to come up
outside of
with
the
them.
2-year, because if you get a special permit, which is what Mr. Gore is asking you to do, you simply file that with the Registry of Deeds and go back and get a buildable letter, if that's possible. Because I've
even
never seen the board go outside of the 2-year, to extend or allow something in perpetuity unless it's, a use, not a structure or something. So I'm a little hesitant on, having the board do that unless you've got proof of other special permits that's been done that we can review.
Well, there's no question in my mind, we've done it. I would have to, not sure how easy it will be for me to find the cases over the years.
I would just think the passage of time would hurt you here, like Hogan versus Hayes, where you have an exercise of a variance, a conveyance, and something like that will I know that you're probably familiar with the case.
I'd have to review it.
Okay, but I just would think, just from our standpoint, I think, you know, I'm just not sure that just incorporating language about a betterment is going to protect this lot for the next 100 years.
Well, I think we have the opportunity, if we're not ready to build, to ask for an extension of the special permit within the 2 years. We could do
Sure.
that.
Correct.
You know, we could come back and ask for another 2 years and see what the family is thinking at that time. You know, we're entering into a 20-year financial commitment. I think if the board included the language that I'm suggesting, which I think it can, you know, we're improving the property and we're doing it in reliance on the special permit. You know, we know it's a buildable lot. We're going to spend money on this property is really what we're doing. I think it's good.
Yeah. Oh, sure, go ahead.
Can the permit be tied to the completion of the sewer?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
No, they don't want to, they don't know if they want to build right away.
No, but if you could say 2 years from the completion of the sewer being available at that address. Is that possible?
No,
I
I
don't
wouldn't,
know.
I
I'm not
wouldn't
sure
go
the
there.
legal stuff, but you guys.
I wouldn't recommend
I would
that.
just throw it out there that I think Bob makes a good point. Aside from the issues here, if this were the same circumstance, but instead of having everything contingent on a sewer hookup, say it was a septic system being installed, would that then be construed as a start of development of that property?
That's Eladio's discretion. It has in the past. I think what the board needs to do with all these
See,
questions is
but
get the
just to finish my
information.
thought, I don't see the difference between the two.
There's a big difference.
There's action being taken to improve the lot.
A sewer doesn't justify that a building's actually going to be there. They're going to pay a betterment. And I think you guys are getting a little bit beyond. The question is, number one, you need more information. If he can give some type of history that this has happened before. You know, I've been with this town
That's
11
fine by
years and
me.
a
Makes
previous
sense
one
to me,
for a
though.
few. I've never done this, but if he can show that the board's gone beyond the 2 years, and it's something for this board to look at. I'm just suggesting that you get further information, and I know Kimberly wants to review things a little bit more. So that, I just think, before you get into too much discussion of things that may not be relevant right now, get the information, continue it, and
All right. So,
Does everybody agree with that, continuing?
Yeah.
Are we comfortable with that?
just to list again what we're asking for.
Well,
she wants clarification on Bob's interpretation of C4, reverting back to C3. That was the one thing.
if you could,
66.
please.
C3.
And then I'm getting her case law on cases, no, it's not case law, excuse me. The past special permits that have gone to court, and those that have not, where the board has approved situations such as this with a structure. I can tell you one that Onment's office handled, it's the Lynch. They had a shed that was used in conjunction with the house. They removed the shed, the board deemed it a buildable lot. I think that was under C4, C3, I don't believe it was under C4, one or the two. But anyway, so clarification from Bob on C4, reverting back to C3. I'll get you special permits and those that have gone through Superior Court.
Something about the condition to extend beyond 2 years, that
Right.
requested condition?
Right.
That there's examples of that?
I think that's about it.
Okay, I'll then move to continue 6515, the next available, well, actually, how long do you think it'll take to get that information?
Oh, I can have it tomorrow and send it to you. I don't know how long it's going to take Bob, but can I suggest September 24th? Would that be? Because we're totally booked September 10th and the 17th.
I'll make that motion then.
And let's see if Bob can agree with that date.
6:30. Same bat channel, same.
Are you available that date, Bob?
I turned my phone off.
September
So
what?
you listen to the
September
the
24th?
introductory comment.
I won't be here.
You won't be here?
I'll be in Paris.
Whatever. We're jealous.
Bummer.
Can I
Well,
ask one?
actually,
Could we,
you could, I don't think it'll take too awfully long. We could possibly do it on September 10th. Is everybody going to be here September 10th? And Bob, are you available September 10th?
Yes.
Would that be enough time for the board?
yes. Okay, so that was
Move
Mark,
to
continue to 9:10
to 9.
6:30.
6:30.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, so that was Mr. Cool, Mr. Hurry, all those in favor? Aye. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks, Bob.
McKenna. Lynch. Thinking of all those decisions. Because I gotta get those out before I go on vacation.
Everyone ready to jump right in? I do need, I kind of do, yeah. Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break. Okay, so the final hearing tonight is 6615 Ramsey, 211 Alder Lane, North Falmouth, special permit to add third bay to garage with additional living space above. Yeah.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the board.
I gotta
Oh,
read
excuse me,
everything on the
sorry.
record first.
No, that was my fault.
You looked over at me.
I
very
did, that
convincing.
was my fault. I
And
gave
then
you the
paused,
wrong
and then
cue.
paused. I said, all
And
right.
who are the voting members, Kimberly?
Oh, the normal or regular voting members and John Sutherland. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Frederick M. and Mary Jane Ramsey of North Falmouth, Mass. apply to the Zoning Board of Appeals pursuant to Sections 240-3C and 240-23G1 of the Code of Falmouth to construct an addition to the existing garage and create a master bedroom above new addition on the pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling known as 211 Alder Lane, North Falmouth. And from planning, we have no comment. From building department, no comment. Marine and environmental, no comment. Fire department, meet existing building code. And from health, location of the existing septic system shown on the filed plan appears to not meet the minimum setback to the proposed addition foundation. In addition, the septic component is not identified as to type. Furthermore, the location is not accurate. More detail would be necessary in order for the health department to sign off on this project. That's it for referrals.
Should we mention the email? Didn't you send an email? Oh, okay.
He will deal with that in his narrative, and I don't believe there was any correspondence, was there, or was there?
No.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Mark Bogosian, and I'm the owner of Longfellow Design Build. I represent Fred and Mary Jane Ramsey, the owners of 211 Adler Lane, North Falmouth. 211 Adler Lane is a two-story residence located in Residential B zoning district. The Ramseys have retired and moved to Falmouth year-round. The Ramseys have applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals under Section 240-23G. The rear addition will add a garage space and a larger master bedroom above the garage. The total number of bedrooms will not change. The addition to the house will not change the front elevation, and the bulk of the structure will be in line with other homes in the area. You will not be able to see the addition from the front of the house or the road when you drive by. This addition will increase the living area, making them more useful to owners. This will be open access with a large cased opening to the main living area. The additional living space will allow them to stay in their home as they get older. This addition will be in line with other homes in the street. There are a number of other nearby homes with larger garages. 236 Alder and 256 Alder are examples of homes with 3-bay garages. Out of the 20 homes we looked at in the neighborhood, 9 were 2-story homes and 11 were 1.5-story homes. This addition would fit nicely with the surrounding homes. All these pictures here represent homes that are on Adler and in that surrounding neighborhood. Just 3 years ago, the board approved 269 Alder to increase the lot coverage from 17.7% to 21.8% for a sunroom. This map shows the homes and neighborhoods that are currently over the 20% lot coverage. So we've highlighted additional lots. There was a few that were very close that I decided not to put on the map based off of our calculations. Thank you. And as far as addressing the health department, I did go meet with the health department as well as meet with the Ramseys. We're aware the septic was installed before they purchased the home. We're going to work to locate its exact location, and we are very okay with a condition that will make that septic, if needed to be, moved, adjusted to meet that 10-foot minimum setback from the addition. The health department was happy with that. They just wanted to make sure we were aware that that might be a potential issue when applying for a permit. Is there any questions?
Let's see. John, do you have any questions?
I had some concerns about the area to the side and rear of the property, and exactly what that path, is that a right-of-way, is that common area?
Could I ask to elaborate?
Could you just give your name and address?
I'm Fred Ramsey, owner with my wife, Mary Jane. We moved here in 2000, bought the property in 2001, and renovated it completely without changing the footprint, and moved in late 2002, not full-time. We then lived up in Boston, and we've used it since then until 2 years ago as a vacation home and second home. But we liked the area and wanted to retire there, and that's why we bought a year-round home to start with. But the property before the 70s was a girls' camp. I don't know if it was a Girl Scout camp, but I know it was a girls' camp, and we have some pictures at home about it. And when it was conveyed and developed, it was required that the properties maintain a buffer zone between each property, because for pathways to wander through without going on the streets. And over the years, most of those pathways haven't been maintained, they're just overgrown. But our house is here, and we actually have opened up this pathway because it's a very sharp turn. The beach access is up here. There's actually a path to the beach through here, and then the parking lot's up there. So this path is totally overgrown. You wouldn't know where the property lines are there. But you can come down the street and you can cut through avoiding this. And we actually have a gazebo near the property line with a gate to access that area. So I think what's highlighted in yellow is our property line, and this is the property line of our neighbors, with this sort of inverted Y being the property is owned by the association, not owned by the property.
It's considered common area by the association.
Common area.
Do you have any other questions, John?
Well, I guess the issue of the septic location is still to be determined and worked out once you locate it. But my concern was that it was too close to that common area, and didn't know how that would affect it.
When looking at the lot, there's numerous other locations that the septic would work and fit. So that was why when we knew that we'd be agreeable to, if needed, move that. We can put one in that will meet all setbacks. And
Okay, thank you.
Mark, do you have any questions?
I do. Mark?
all right.
I'm looking at the plan A112. And so my concern would be, which defines the actual living space above the garage. My concern would be the door opening from the existing family room into what appears to be the hallway that would give access to the bedrooms area and the downstairs ladder to the garage. It being 3 foot 6 inches wide. So my concern is you could easily close that up and make it a studio apartment. So to mitigate or satisfy my concern, would the applicant be amenable to widening?
Yeah, part of the design of that opening, a typical door, meaning if you frame for 3 feet, we said we want to go wider that, it's a cased opening. It's clearly, a door would not just fit in that space. The whole reason for the wall, so you have some privacy when you walk in, and you're gonna, on that other wall, if you notice that there's all doors in the back and windows in the front, so that is the wall where the TV will go. I think widening that a few more inches would be agreeable, enough that it would clearly not be intended, and I can assure you with this project, there is a existing bedroom up there with a similar setup. They're just looking to increase the size.
Let's see, my second question then. So you would be amenable to widening from 3 foot 6 inches?
Slightly. I just want to be careful that we don't widen it too much, that it takes away from that living room in the sense of, if you kind of look at the design of it, it's an open floor plan into the kitchen. The
Right.
only real wall space is that wall that we would be widening, so we could definitely bring it up. One idea might be to bring it up and widen it towards the staircase, maybe even creating maybe an open baluster
That's exactly
that would
what I
allow
was
it
thinking.
to be a 4 foot, or so on.
Okay. Thank you for that. My next question is, explain the reason for the pocket door that separates the new stair hall and the corner walk-in closet.
The main reason for that is when you walk up the stairs, your first view is going to be into that closet. So if the closet becomes a little messy, you have the ability to shut that if somebody else was coming in or visiting the house.
And the dimension of that walk-in closet is in excess of 70 square feet?
That is, yes, that is correct. That includes the laundry area as well.
Okay. That's all I have for now.
Okay, thank you. TJ?
The existing shed is going to remain?
Yes.
Okay. And, see, did that go into calculating lot coverage?
It did.
Okay. And is this affecting the height on that side of the house at all, the whole addition?
No, it's not. It's actually lower than the main part of the house.
Okay.
Ed?
You've already been answered.
I'm sorry, Joe.
Paul?
No question.
Oh, that's okay.
In calculating the lot coverage, I know TJ just asked if the shed was included. That was the entire shed, even though there's some apparent encroachment there?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I think that was all I had for questions. Suri?
What's the shed on? Is it on cinder blocks or is it on a foundation?
Cinder blocks.
So it could be moved so it's not encroaching?
Could.
That's the common area, so. And there's no increase in the number of bedrooms being created, correct?
That is correct.
Mark, do you have any more questions, or John?
I think the concern about the setback from the septic is the purview of the health department, so we don't have to get stuck on that.
If the board approves it, you can condition that
Right.
the special permit's based on the Board of Health's approval
Now,
and sign off before I do.
and one point to take is that we cannot get a building permit without the sign-off from the Board of Health, meaning we have to go through that department regardless of any conditions on it.
And that would be my verification before I sign off.
Okay. So, there's probably no one opposed here. So I think we're
Anyone in favor?
in favor, if you'd like to say anything additional, you're welcome to. Do we need more discussion, or are we? Does anybody want?
I'm happy.
So,
Next.
Anyone like to make a motion?
Make a motion. Close.
To close, okay, so that was Ed, and
Second?
second John. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And how would you like to proceed?
Motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Okay, findings and conditions. Meets criteria 24216
3 bedrooms, 2 stables.
and remaining 3 bedrooms.
4 bedrooms.
Oh, excuse me, 4
Four
bedrooms,
bedrooms.
sorry.
3 on one side, 1 on the other.
Sorry.
Right, no increase.
Right.
No
for
increase.
bedrooms.
Doesn't create any more, or any new nonconformities.
But you cannot see the addition from the front elevation, there will be no change.
That, I think, can that come under 24216 in
Yes.
keeping with the neighborhood and
Mhm.
not visible from a roadway?
Yeah.
Testimony had it that the client or the applicants were amenable to widening that
Yes.
door access.
2 4-foot cased opening?
Yes.
And that the applicant is working with the Board of Health
Mm-hmm.
to ensure compliance?
Can we also just do a finding about, I guess Mark's point of that note, that that wouldn't be used as an accessory apartment?
Sure.
Yeah.
The board can, well,
Yeah, we
And
can
we can condition it too, but.
testimony was that it will not be, and then you condition it.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So
But,
testimony, no intent.
What kind of finding do we want to make about the shed? Any? It's movable. It's on cinder block.
Yeah, that it is encroaching on the common
It
area.
is movable, but not easily.
I mean, you know,
Yeah,
it's common area to the
Obviously,
association, so
there hasn't
I
been
think
any
it could
complaints.
be the association who deems that.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
make a finding that it is
it
encroaching
is
and then,
encroaching, but it was calculated as part of the lot
Right.
coverage.
and let the association deal with it
Okay.
if the board wants.
Thank you.
So I'll just make a finding that shed is encroaching on association common property, common area.
Great.
Then the nonconformity, I guess, lot coverage is similar to that.
In keeping with the
In
neighborhood.
keeping with
With the
the neighborhood.
neighborhood.
That should do it.
Okay.
Okay, any conditions?
Conditions per plans,
For plans with the exception.
with the
of
exception that they increase, I guess, that.
Well, I
case
think
of-
we'll do it per plans and then with a note that the applicant has to submit a revised plan showing the 4-foot
4-foot
cased
cased
opening
opening.
prior to issuance of building permit.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's perfect.
And that's one specific drawing, and I'll get that drawing number.
So-
A112.
Okay, this is where you want to condition
No
not to,
accessory apartment?
The Board of Health condition, that one?
no, we'll come to that. Yeah, not to be used as a separate dwelling.
Mhm. Yeah.
And not rent, how about not rented separate from single family,
Yeah.
just in case?
No additional accessory structures?
And then come in compliance. Compliance with Board of Health.
Yes.
Those are all I can see.
Mhm.
Yep.
That's what I see. Okay, so that was Mr. Murphy and Mr. Van Kuren. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that is unanimous.
Thank you.
Good luck.
So Mark, that condition will be all that information submitted prior to the issuance of a building permit, so
Right.
before I sign off.
So before you sign off, we'll have worked everything out with the health department. We'll have the updated plans that show the 4-foot cased opening.
Right,
And we'll be good to go.
okay.
Thank you very much.
No, so we already did open meeting, so I think we're finished.